2021 Acura TLX Type S versus the 2021 Lexus IS 350 F Sport. Who makes the best Japanese sports sedan? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Help Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. If you're in the market for a reliable, value-packed luxury sedan with a performance edge, then you've probably considered either the Acura TLX or the Lexus IS. Both are popular bestsellers, and for good reason. They can cost thousands of dollars less than their German car competitors without having any of the long-term reliability headaches. The question is, which is the better sports sedan? Well, make sure to stick around to the end of the video because that's what we're going to find out. The TLX that I'm testing here is the highly anticipated Type S variant, which comes with a turbocharged 3-liter V6 engine. Now, when I first test drove the current generation TLX with the 4-cylinder engine, I wasn't actually all that impressed with it. The standard 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder is basically the same engine that you'd find under the hood of the Honda Accord, and while it's an okay engine in terms of performance and acceleration, it doesn't really have a lot of character, and it just didn't really make the TLX feel all that special to drive. The Turbo V6 in this Type S, however, is a completely different story. Not only does it totally transform the driving experience, adding a lot more power, but it also makes it way more exciting to drive. It produces 355 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque, giving it a 0 to 60 time of around 5 seconds, making it properly fast. That's way more power than you get with the IS 350 and pretty much puts the Type S almost on the same level as the German sports sedans like the BMW M340i or the Audi S4. I'm not sure whether it's quite as quick as something like, say, an M340i in a straight line, but it's definitely very close, and at least it sounds great thanks to those quad exhaust pipes, which give it a really throaty exhaust note. It also has a very quick shifting 10-speed automatic transmission, which you can sharpen up even more by selecting Sport or Sport Plus mode, and you can control yourself, of course, using the paddle shifters on the steering wheel. It's a much faster transmission than the 6-speed automatic that you get in the IS 350. On top of that amazing drivetrain, you've also got Acura's super handling all-wheel drive system, which has true torque vectoring capability, which makes this a very agile and great handling sports sedan. Although it is noticeably larger and heavier than the IS 350, this is still an incredibly sharp and well-balanced car. The steering's very responsive, the brakes are strong. I mean, this is everything that I would expect a proper Type S to be. Wow, what a great driving car. This feels like everything the TLX should have been all along, and this thing feels like it could really hold its own against something like a BMW M car or a Mercedes AMG. This is a seriously good performance sedan. Now, in order to get the most of it, you do need to be driving it in either Sport or Sport Plus mode, where the ride can get a little bit choppy, but if you drive it in normal mode, it is pretty acceptable. I do find it a bit odd how Acura went with this huge drive mode selector right in the middle of all of your controls, where it takes up a fair amount of real estate, but then again, the functionality of this interior isn't exactly the best. The placement and layout of all of the controls is just kind of all over the place, and then we have this infotainment system which uses the Acura touchpad interface. The biggest issue with this system is that it's just not that intuitive to use. It has a pretty steep learning curve to it, and I'd much rather just have a simple touchscreen like you get in the IS 350. On the bright side though, I do like the look of it. It has great looking graphics, and I like the overall look and feel of this interior. Everything feels high quality, and it has a very sporty feel to it as well. The seats are very comfortable and supportive with this really nice two-tone upholstery material of both leather and suede, which is really nice. And we have this great looking steering wheel and sporty looking gauges with white dials and red instrumentation, which looks really good. The back seats also have a decent amount of space, definitely more than you get with the Lexus IS, although taller adults are definitely not going to want to be back there for longer road trips. And although you can fold down the back seats, the Type S does get this pretty annoying cross brace for added structural rigidity that does reduce the amount of load through space that you have for bigger objects. I do really like the look of this car though. I think all of the added touches that you get with the Type S make it look very sporty and aggressive, and I also think that it's a great value. It's priced one way, fully loaded, with a price of around $54,000 US or 60,000 Canadian. That's an amazing price considering how much luxury and performance that you get, and it's thousands of dollars cheaper than a comparable BMW M340i, Audi S4, or Mercedes-AMG C43. The question though is it as good of a value as the Lexus IS350? Well, time to get behind the wheel of one and find out. Okay, so now I'm behind the wheel of the 2021 Lexus IS350. Now I know this car gets a lot of criticism for the fact that it's been around for several years without a full redesign. But just because another car is newer doesn't automatically make it better. Lexus has given the IS some pretty substantial updates for 2021. They've updated the exterior design with new headlights and taillights for a much sleeker, sportier look. They've stiffened the chassis, updated the interior with a new touchscreen infotainment system, and done a few other light updates here and there to basically keep it up with the competition. What I really like about the IS is that it just reminds me of some of my favorite sports sedans from the past. Because of its smaller size, it has a more nimble, agile feel on the road. And unlike the TLX, which is a front-wheel drive based platform, the IS has a rear-wheel drive platform, although the one that I'm testing here does come with a rear-biased all-wheel drive system. If you go for the F Sport package model, you get some nice performance upgrades like a limited slip differential, adaptive suspension, 19-inch wheels with performance tires, all of which help improve the handling, making this a pretty solid driving car. The other thing that feels a little bit old school about the IS, next to its smaller size, is the naturally aspirated 3.5-liter V6 engine. Now, obviously it's not going to have anywhere near the level of performance as the TLX Type S with its turbocharged V6. This engine makes around 311 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque, which gives it a 0 to 60 time of around 5.5 seconds. Although it doesn't have as much power as the Type S, this engine does have a lot of character. It also has a really nice sounding exhaust note due to the fact that it's not muffled by any turbochargers. There's also something really satisfying about the fact that if you buy one of these, you're driving the last sports sedan that you can get with a simple, naturally aspirated V6 engine. Now, modern turbos are great, but there's just something more satisfying that I find about a big, simple V6 that's just really great. And because Lexus has been using this drivetrain pretty much forever, you know that it's going to be rock solid reliable and last for a very long time, which is also a really great thing. The other part of this car, of course, that has been around for a very long time is the interior. Now, although it is starting to feel a little bit dated in certain areas, there is no arguing with the fit and finish and quality of this interior. Everything is just rock solid in here and definitely gives you the impression that not only is it going to hold up over time, but it's probably going to look and feel just as good 10 years down the road. The other thing I really like about this interior, next to the fit and finish, are these seats. Lexus doesn't get enough credit for the fact that it makes some of the most comfortable and supportive seats in the sports sedan segment. Although the tech and controls do look more dated than what you get in the TLX, I actually think that the setup in the IS is easier to use. I really like how straightforward all the controls are in here, and I really like the touchscreen infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto over the trackpad system that you get in the TLX. Now, the Lexus system uses a trackpad as well, and obviously the graphics don't look that great, but the fact that it has touchscreen capability is a huge bonus to me. One of the areas though where the TLX definitely beats the IS is interior space. It is a noticeably roomier car inside, especially when it comes to the rear seat space. It also has a better sounding sound system. The ELS system that you get when compared to the Mark Levinson system in the Lexus is definitely the hands down winner. So that brings me to value and pricing. Now, when you compare the lower trims of these two cars, the IS300 V6 and the TLX with the 4-cylinder engine, they are pretty evenly priced. It's only when you move up to these higher performance versions that the TLX Type S pulls ahead on price. But although it is a little bit more expensive, I do think you are getting better value, mostly due to the fact that you're just getting a lot more performance. The Type S is just a really good buy, and it's a lot cheaper than the European competition, like say the BMW M340i, which costs a lot more money. So bottom line, what's it going to be, the Lexus or the Acura? Well, I think if you're comparing these two cars in the top trims like I have here, no question the TLX Type S is the hands down winner. It is a phenomenal package with amazing performance, especially that turbo V6 engine, which makes it a seriously fast car. When you look at the overall speed, the handling, the all-wheel drive system, it really is a genuine rival to some of the best European sports sedans like the BMW M340i and a few others. And it's a fantastic value when compared to those cars too, much cheaper. So I think if you're looking for a genuine sports sedan with a great driving experience, it's one of the best buys on the market. There's also a bit of an exclusivity factor to it as well. Acura is treating the Type S like a pretty special car. It might be a little bit tricky to even find one at a dealership, so you're not going to find a lot of them on the road, which is pretty neat. I think it's a different story though when comparing the lower to mid trim levels of these cars. When I drove the TLX with the 4-cylinder turbo, I wasn't exactly blown away. And I actually think that the IS300 with the V6 engine is the better sports sedan between those two. The IS300 is just a better value in terms of price, and that V6 engine just gives it more character when compared to the 4-cylinder turbo in the TLX. And although it might not be the most up-to-date sports sedan in every way, it is an amazing value thanks to that incredible Lexus reputation when it comes to long-term reliability and really high resale value too. If you're just looking for a solid driving sports sedan with good looks, a nice interior that's going to last you for a very long time without giving you expensive repair bills, you really can't beat the Lexus IS. It's one of the absolute best in its segment. So let me know what you think of the different versions of the Acura TLX and Lexus IS. Which version would you take, or would you buy a different sports sedan altogether? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also check out some of my other car related videos by taking a look at these links over here. Make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram. And if you need any additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, make sure to check out carhelpcanada.com. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.